Southwest customers who had their flights canceled last week are now getting compensation in the form of frequent flyer points. The airline CEO sent a letter apologizing for that fiasco that's been going on, offering 25,000 points worth more than $300 in flights. This comes in addition to the refunds that Southwest is mandated to give out, which they say are acting, quote, with great urgency for this process. Some customers, though, are not satisfied. As we told you yesterday, a proposed class action lawsuit has already been filed.
All right, so our 9 News legal analyst, Whitney Traylor, is with us now. So first, talk about a class action lawsuit. Let's do some basics here. Right. This is one person at this point, which does not make for a class action lawsuit. Obviously, this person, this attorney, whoever is representing him, is expecting many more people to join up.
Well, they're hoping to make their money. So a class action, as opposed to just a regular lawsuit with 1 or 2 individuals, is where you have actually a class. And what you do is you get certified by the court because it's just too complex, too many parties. And so they say, we're going to certify it as a class, and then you have the option to join the class. You can opt out and things like that. So here, it isn't a class right now. They're seeking to certify it as a class, and certainly there's enough people around the nation that got involved that would make this complex to have hundreds or thousands of individual lawsuits.
So is that when the other attorneys start sniffing around? You start getting, I mean, somebody in the newsroom said recently they were involved in something, and all of a sudden, 6 months later, they got emails saying, have you ever considered?
Right, and you've seen those commercials where it says, hey, have you ever been exposed to asbestos or gotten breast implants or things like that? And that's because the more litigants, then of course, then the larger recovery. And the issue a lot of times is that the lawyers who are representing hundreds or thousands of people may take a percentage of a multi-million-dollar settlement, and everyone else is getting, you know, sometimes $5, $6.
So let's talk about this situation, because this was very public with very many people, and it was covered live.
Yes.
So we watched it all happen in real time and saw many, 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 many people affected by this. What are they looking to get? What might they get should they be able to sue and win against Southwest?
Yeah, and it's a great question, because I think the real issue is there aren't significant damages. So I think the lawsuit might be weak, if you will, because there's just not going to be a lot of money. So, I mean, certainly if you have lost baggage, you're entitled to that. As we were just talking about, though, there is a cap on domestic bags of $3,800. And so certainly you can get that. But the question is it worth the time and effort to file a lawsuit, which of course is the benefit of the class action, because the named plaintiff, the person who's filed this lawsuit, has to be there and show up for all the hearings. If you're part of the class, you just essentially sit back and wait to see what happens.
Well, let's talk about pain and suffering, because that's what I think is at stake here for many people. Many people, it was incredibly inconvenient through the holidays.
Yes.
Other airlines struggled but seemed to get along much better. And there's empathy. There is sympathy out there for these people, not for the airline.
Absolutely. I mean, you don't want to be the airline. And this really highlights, this lawsuit really highlights the situation of sometimes the lack of power that we have as consumers, because they didn't have any recourse, really. And so when you talk about the damages, while it may seem like, okay, you lost your bag for a week or something like that, some people got bumped off their flights, weren't able to see
going
people
across
for their
the
loved
country.
ones. The loved ones ended up passing away, you know, so those are serious damages. But the claim that they're dealing with here is essentially a contract claim. So you don't really get emotional distress damages in a contract claim. So I think this would be very straightforward in the sense of, okay, was your bag lost? How much hotel fees? Those kind of what are called consequential damages. So while you're right, Tom, I could see somebody going in and making a compelling argument that, look how I was damaged. Think about it. If it's a year from now, we go to trial a year from now, you're sitting on the jury, and I'm coming up and I say, hey, my bags were lost. I never recovered them. They offered me a credit as opposed to a refund. It was super distressful. You know, are you going to award, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars?
It loses a little bit that way. You know, but their image has been, I mean, Southwest is now, they're got to be in damage control massively at this point. point, and they have so much money. I mean, some people are saying, okay, this is the end of it. So at the end of the day, I guess when you're looking at millions of dollars, I mean, maybe it's best for you just to file all your paperwork and get what you can now. Well,
for sure. In Southwest, they're trying to cover up. So they have on their website the ways to submit your receipts, and they're claiming that they're not gonna dispute things. Hey, you show us the receipts. If it's reasonable, we're gonna compensate. And so they're taking it serious. But the reality is, and this is with any type of litigation, I've had lots of people come in and say, you know, I've been wronged and I want to sue. And I said, okay. Are you going to feel this way 2 years from now?
Right.
Are you going to, 10 months from now, wake up in the middle of the night and think, Southwest, I'm going to get you? And the reality is probably not. Now, there may be people like that, but every case comes down to two issues: liability and damages. So here, were they liable? Did they do these things and potentially breach their contract? For sure, it appears. The damages is really the issue.
Well, the best part of it is if you hate Southwest so much that you're going to sue them, they're giving you points to fly for less on Southwest
So
Airlines.
you could try again.
Get back on that horse. Have some fun.
They could give you that. And in addition, see, this is why I think the lawsuit won't go far, because really Southwest, all they have to do is say, yeah, here's your refund. Send us your receipts. You want to file. And there's nothing further to go on. Even after the lawsuit's filed, they can offer, it's called a statutory offer of settlement. So they can file with the court this offer and say, look, we've made this offer to the person, and if they don't recover more than that at trial, then they will actually owe Southwest fees. But Southwest doesn't want any part of this lawsuit, whether it's hundreds of people, one class action, and I think they are doing their best in terms of creating the website and the links and saying, look, we're going to get on.
They have a long road to go. We'll get to talk more about this as it does evolve, though, and it's good to check in with you as always.
I think we're going to be talking about it again,
Happy New
Whitney.
Year.
Thank you.